I got to admit that zodiac signs are kind of fun to play around with, even if I don't really believe in them. Sorry, Grandma. And some of the zodiac signs inspire great art. So I want to jump on that and make my own character designs inspired by the different zodiac signs. I didn't know what theme I wanted to go for, so I held a poll on Tumblr and Instagram, and horror won. So I'm going to draw 4 of the signs in this video being inspired by the horror genre. The first sign I'm doing for this video is Libra. It's mostly because I'm very biased with the fact that I was born during Libra season, so that's why I'm starting with Libra. Even if certain zodiac sign websites can't seem to agree if I am a Libra or a Virgo, but according to my grandma, I'm a Libra, so I'm just gonna believe her. And Libra is just cooler than Virgo. Sorry, Virgo fans, if you're watching. Anyways, Libra is the sign for people born between the 22nd of September and the 23rd of October. It is an air sign, and personality traits associated with the sign is being balanced, having a strong sense of justice, and beautiful. Like seriously, so many zodiac based websites would mention the fact that Libras are so pretty and beautiful and cares about beauty so many times. And anyways, I have a bit of beef with Libra actually, with the fact that every other sign has either like an animal or a human or a human-animal hybrid creature as a symbol, so it's kind of like easy to kind of make a character design based around those stuff. But then Libra has to come in here and be the only sign that has an object as their symbol, which is like, okay, I guess it's easy to make a prop design, but I don't want to like have the only part of the design be that the character holds the scale, because that's just boring and everyone else does that when it comes to Libra. And I want to be different. I want to like think outside the box. I don't want to do what everyone else is doing. So I had to really sit down and think, making that brain of mine think very hard. How would I do a horror inspired version of Libra? So I had to think, I had to really think. So I thought more about the ideas around the whole concept of the sign that usually associated with justice and equality. So that has me thinking about like death, because a lot of times like the Grim Reaper in certain stories is like it's kind of like a judge of character, like decides if you're going to go to hell or heaven, or the good afterlife or the bad afterlife, you know, whatever. So I thought more about that concept, but then I kind of scratched it because I didn't really know how to make like a Grim Reaper-like character into Libra, except like, oh, he's holding a scale, so that's cool, I guess. So I thought more about the concept around equality, justice, and then death kind of came into my mind as well. And I thought, it exists like, because then I thought about like the trope of like the sort of like the killer, but they only go about after like bad people, kind of like Dexter, that's the guy's name. And I thought more about that, and I thought, oh, that's great, because I feel like the slasher killer is like such a big part of the horror genre, and I didn't really have any other signs that may kind of fit that. So I thought, Libra, you're going to be the slasher killer of the group. I hope you like it. Also, compared to the other characters, especially for this video, they're a bit more supernatural based and have designs that is more old-timey. Like, so I thought having at least one character who is a bit more like horror, that's more based on humans and a bit more modern, is probably like a good change of pace. I also, because I think also like horror that's a bit more based in reality is more effective on certain people. I'm I'm like 50-50. Like sometimes I think both can be done very scary, depends on execution of course. But I feel like horror that's more based on reality is something I also wanted to add to this series, because it's just scary because humans are the scariest of them all, because ghosts you can have a whole debate if they're real or not. But just a bad person doing bad things is very realistic, because those exist. There's a lot of documentation that they exist. But anyways, for this character, I thought about like a slasher killer who goes around killing people who they think deserves it. Which of course would probably like start with them going after like really, really bad people. So you're kind of on their side in the beginning, but then after a while they start to go after more and more. Like I don't know, in the beginning it's like, oh, I killed this other serial killer because they were never caught by the police. Like, okay, you know, good job. And then at the end it's like, and I killed this guy because he littered in the park. And it's like, okay, that's a dick thing to do, but like maybe we shouldn't kill him. I also didn't have the character whole scale because, as mentioned, I didn't want to do that. It's boring. So I had this like embroidery on their hoodie to have the scales on, and I also have them hold a lead pipe, which they would use for murder, I guess. I thought maybe giving him a knife, but then I dropped that because I feel like I'm probably gonna have a lot of characters hold knives, and I wanted Libra to stand out, you know, stand out from the rest. The next sign I'm doing for this video is Scorpio. This is the sign for the people born between the 24th of October and the 22nd of November. The sign is a water sign to my confusion. Actually, as a kid, I thought scorpions were like water creatures because it was a water sign in the Zodiac. I learned as an adult that is not the case. They usually just live in deserts and dry places. You can't blame me, scorpions don't exist where I live. I don't know anything about scorpions. Anyways, back on track. Scorpio people traits are usually described as being very passionate, intense, and a bit mysterious. So originally I thought making this character like a scorpion-human hybrid creature, but then I fear that she will look too much like Scorpia from She-Ra. Like either the modern version or the 80s version, I don't care. I didn't want a bunch of comments being like, oh, this looks like Scorpia from She-Ra, because I don't want that. I feel like every artist dreads having comments when you make like an original character or a character design, and people in the comments being like, huh, this looks like insert popular character from like another show, movie, comic book, whatever. I feel like no one likes comments like that, so I didn't want that. I wanted to beat that ahead. And I also thought like having more like I also have thought about different ideas for different signs already, and I thought maybe I want to do more of that with Cancer, so look forward to that. So then I had to think like, okay, so how do I make this Scorpio character then, if I'm not gonna do like a scorpion human hybrid thing? So I thought about different horror characters / monsters to give me inspiration. I wrote down different like horror tropes to give me ideas, not just for Scorpio but for other signs as well. And I thought vampires. Everyone loves a good vampire. And I thought Scorpio could fit because Scorpio seemed, from my research, seems to be more of the kind of signs that really like dark and macabre. My grandma and my mother is way more into Zodiac than I am, and apparently Scorpio is one of my signs in another planet. I don't know how Zodiac signs work. My mother claims that me having Scorpio in that position is the reason I really like the dark and gothic stuff, so I'm like, okay. And I feel like that just fit for Scorpio, but I still really wanted her to have still like a very scorpion visuals around her. So when I was like sketching her out, I was thinking of different ideas to make her look good, and I was just thinking about other stuff. So I have this original character that is canonically a Scorpio, and I thought, okay, and she has a lot of traits that you also associate with Scorpio people. So I thought, okay, maybe I can take some inspiration from her, because I accidentally made her pretty much a Scorpio. And then, so I drew this character with like a braid, but then I realized, you know, the braid I drew her with kind of looked like a scorpion tail. I thought, oh, that's fucking genius. That is so good. So she has like a braid that kind of looks like a scorpion tail to like give the visuals of like scorpions, which I thought was very, very cool. I also had her dress have this like kind of like, yeah, like this pattern in the front that a lot of scorpions have, you know, like the kind of like, I don't know, like I'm just gonna show pictures. I wanted to have that because that seemed to be like a very that seemed to be a thing that every scorpions I could find had. Also, another thing that I wanted to include, but I didn't know how to include it, but I want to share it because I thought it was interesting, is apparently scorpions glow in UV lighting, and that shit is so cool. I just had to share it. Like, that was the most interesting thing I found out when I was researching scorpions to give me inspiration for this character. Also, another thing, I wanted to include some insect aspect around her because scorpions mainly eat insects. They're a lot like spiders, actually, that I learned. I didn't know how to include it, so I just dropped it. I also didn't want people to compare her to the three sisters from Resident Evil 8, like Lady Dimitrescu's daughters. Which is also like very like vampire, but like has like an insect aspect around them, and I didn't want people to compare her to that either, so I just decided to not have that. I also added this like broderie pattern to her dress that kind of looks like scorpion claws. I really wanted her to not just look like a vampire, but I wanted her to look like a scorpion, and I also added like this medallion thing that has the scorpion symbol on it. The third sign I'm doing for this video is Sagittarius. This is the sign for people born between the 23rd of November and the 21st of December. It is a fire sign, and traits associated with this sign is adventurous, independent, and passionate. Sagittarius symbol is an archer who is a centaur. I ended up not drawing a centaur because I don't associate centaurs that much with horror, even though some of the stories around centaurs are low-key horrifying. But also the main reason I didn't draw centaurs because I did not want to draw a horse body, because that shit is so hard. I think every artist can agree that horses are one of the hardest things to draw. Like, even if you like to draw horses, you have to admit they're a bit hard. Like, trying to draw a horse without a reference is some of the worst things ever. Even though if I was to draw a centaur, I would probably pull up 100 references in front of me and still somehow get it wrong. Ugh. But anyways, I started to still think around stuff around the archer aspect of the sign and the symbols. I started to really think, because being hunted is a terrifying aspect. It's a terrifying concept to be hunted by someone. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna play around with that because that's terrifying. And then I thought, okay, like a hunter of sorts. I thought like, ooh, maybe it's like an undead hunter or something, like someone that can like never be defeated in a way. Like, I don't know if this guy is like a ghost or like a more terrifying version of like the Black Knight from Monty Python. I don't know. You can decide, I guess. I'm not set in stone for what he is. I feel like he got like somehow cursed to like forever hunt and haunt the woods he lives in and hunting innocent people and animals and such. And I gave him like a bow and arrow because he's an archer. I was also like, you know, like last year that in a town near where I was in school, a guy went around shooting people with like, I think it was a crossbow or just a normal bow. That was kind of terrifying, and that kind of inspired me more because I was... So yeah, that was some of the inspiration for this character design. I also wanted him to look a bit older. I think it's because I kind of want to challenge myself to try to draw from different age groups instead of drawing every character I have in vague 20s. I just want to challenge myself. I feel like art gets a bit stale if like you only draw like a certain type of person all the time. So I wanted to challenge myself to make this guy a bit older looking, giving him like a massive beard. I don't really draw a lot of manly men either. I feel like a lot of guy characters I draw are usually, most guy characters I draw are usually tall and lanky. So I kind of wanted to draw like a guy character who's a bit more muscular and like kind of big in a sense that if I tried to push him, I would probably be the one falling over sort of guy. Build like a mountain, like a unit as you would put it. For this one I didn't really look a lot like, I guess he doesn't really encompass a lot of traits associated with Sagittarius, but I guess he's like never gives up and like very I guess you can be adventurous. You have to be a bit adventurous if you're like a hunter. I feel like you must leave your house to be. So you know what, I'm happy with this drawing. I also added a bit more details post recording that you will see at the end of the video. I added like a bit more blood splatter because I've kind of realized that he would probably have some blood on him if he's like hunting people, which I guess would imply more that he is more like an undead creature that can't be killed over like a corporeal ghost or something. Just a scary guy hunting people in the woods. You know, enough for me. I like this drawing. The last sign I'm doing for this video is Capricorn. Capricorn is the sign for the people born between the 22nd of December and the 20th of January. The sign is an earth sign, and what I could find of traits, they're usually portrayed as highly ambitious people and hard workers. So the first thing I knew I really wanted to include in this character design was the goat imagery, because the Capricorn is portrayed by the goats, or like I don't really know what they're called in English. Is it just Capricorn? Because I don't know. It's like a goat. But I really wanted to include the goat imagery because I feel like goats are very associated with the horror genre and like creepy imagery because of the association with Satan and the devil, etc. And I think originally I planned for this character to have like massive horns, kind of like the goat, like the Zodiac sign is usually portrayed with. I think I ended up not doing that because there is also, I think, 2 other signs that have an animal with horns as their symbol, and I thought, you know, I could do that for another one of these designs, and I didn't want to like repeat these character designs too much. So that's why I ended up having this character wear like this sort of mask, or like having them wear like a skull of a goat, because I think that would look very, very cool. So I kind of had this character end up looking like this sort of like occultist / devil worshipper, or at least more of the pop culture idea of what does things look like, because I don't think a lot of cults are the ones that have like hooded robes and like sacrificing virgins to the demons. I don't think a lot of cults are like that, even in like a historical sense. But anyways, I still think it's like a fun aesthetic to play around with. So I did, and I just really like this character design. I think I would add a bit more details if I were to draw her again. A bit more detail on the dress, because it's not that detailed, and also with the pose she's sitting in, you can't really see that well how her outfit looks like. But also, maybe I wouldn't, because I feel like with character designs, if you have like one aspect of the character design that's like super detailed, you don't want to have other superimposing details either, because then that takes away from the main aspect of the character design, and also it will just be more complicated to draw, like in like a setting that's like, for example, like animation, or like 2D animation, or like a comic or something like that. But I think I would add a bit more details on her dress if I were to do this again. But I still really, really like this design. It's probably, mentioned, my favorite out of the bunch. It's just, It's just so fun to draw. Also, like the rest of the designs, I added the symbol for Capricorn on her mask, so people would realize which one this is, even though I feel like even without the symbol, I think you would still guess which one it is if I said this is based on a zodiac sign, which one, because of the massive gold skull. But I guess maybe people would maybe think it's Aries, but I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the symbol that symbolizes Capricorn is like those goats that have like massive horns that's like almost as, or looks like sometimes like as big as that goat's body, versus Aries goat symbol, which I feel like have like smaller horns. Because I feel like at least in my language I could tell what the different names are for these two types of goat, but I can't in English. I don't know. Ugh. Anyways, I'm looking forward to draw the rest of these designs. I hope YouTube doesn't age restrict this video because of the blood splatter I added to some of these designs. I don't think it's as bloody or gory as it could be, and I feel like my style is also a bit cartoony, so I don't know. I think it's fine. I hope it's fine. I don't want to go through the drama of that if this video gets age restricted and then I have to, like, please don't restrict my content. I spent a lot of time on this, please, YouTube. So that is all the designs for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and like these designs. You can check me out on Instagram and Tumblr, links below, so you can like see the drawings a bit closer there. I hope you enjoyed this video and hope you see the rest of the parts. If your sign wasn't in this video, I will get around to do all the signs, so don't you worry. See you guys soon, and I hope you have a great week ahead of you. Goodbye.